I just want to make sure we're live on Instagram as well. Yes, we are. And I want to see is if LinkedIn is also live. Mm, Yes, we are.
Let's go.
Cool. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Duran Baraka.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm so excited for this today. I think let's wait for a while so we have some people joining in and then we can kick off. Let's give it a minute or two. Um, we're live on LinkedIn and we already live on Instagram when we have people. That's nice. Cool. How's the weather in Dubai today?
Yeah, it's okay. It's hot, but it's also like a little bit breezy, so
Okay.
you know, not the usual
Dubai,
May. It's not the usual May.
to be honest, I'm surprised that the weather is still like this and it's almost June.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
global warming is real.
absolutely.
I think we can start.
Okay.
Thank you everyone who joined us today. I'm so happy to be here today. I hope everyone had a fantastic week. And for those who didn't have a fantastic week, the good news is the week had ended and the weekend is coming. So just let it go. And just think whatever happened this week is just happened. And next week is a new week. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy this 1 hour with me and Hiba today. We're going to make it light. We're going to enjoy the conversation. Hiba is a person that I have a lot of admiration for. Um, we met a couple of years back in 2017. Ironically, she used to live with my best friend, and I used to hear about her, and she used to hear about me, but we never met. And one day I went for a lunch with a friend, and there's a young girl who just moved to Dubai, and we kind of met. And I think from that day we started a old sister, young sister relationship that I cherish and very, very close to my heart. Um, Far away from that, I think Hiba is a person that I would love her to share her story with as much young people as possible, because I think there's a lot of inspiration, there's a lot of lessons that a lot of people can learn from her. And today we're going to touch on that. We're going to make it light, as I said, and we're going to just have a heart to heart conversation. Hiba, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Razan, for having me. And yes, we do go way back. And I think that coincidence when we met was like, you're Razan, you're Hiba. And then it was just like a spark, you know? So yeah, I'm very grateful for the friendship and the bond that we have. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So Hiba, let's start. Tell people who joining us today who doesn't know Hiba, who's Hiba? What's your background and what you're currently doing?
Sure. So, in a nutshell, I am Hiba. I am a wife, a sister, a daughter, a friend. Um, um, I studied economics in university, and I had a total different projection for my life as to what I wanted to do, and we'll get into that as we go into the conversation. I'm currently based in Dubai, and I'm very close with my family. I am someone who is a hard worker. I am kind if you don't push my buttons most of the times. And I am extremely passionate about making sure that People around me are super comfortable and super happy, and they have everything that they have and they need. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
And what are you doing now?
I'm currently working for a software company as an account executive, an account director, and I manage part of their portfolio here for the in the region.
Cool. So Hiba, today we're gonna our theme for today is Dare to Be, and we're gonna talk a lot about things that we usually don't talk about. We're gonna talk about what does it mean to be fearless at the workplace. So before we start talking about being fearless, I want you to tell me and the rest of people who are with us today what fears mean to Hiba.
For me, fear is the unknown, the unplanned, walking into a situation that is, let's say that it's new to me or that I haven't planned for. For those who doesn't know me, and to put my answer into context, I am a planning freak. I have a Google Doc for and a Google Sheet for each and everything that I want to do. I like to plan. I like to put things in, like to do list is my middle name. So for me, that's what scares me the most is like, doing something without planning for it or just walking into the unknown. But as I grew up, it slowly started to, make peace. It's still scary, but I made peace with it in a way.
And what does fear means in terms of like work?
I think fear in terms of work, it varies from one person to another. Some people could fear senior people. Some people can fear a conversation with someone from another department, or calling up a customer for the first time, or doing cold calls, or so it could be different from one person to another. I personally fear for me is being unprepared and basically walking into, let's say, a meeting or a call or whatever, a situation at work with me being unprepared. That's where my fear kicks in a little bit at work.
Okay, Heba, I wanna go to the date that we met back in 2017. I remember, I still remember the setting. We were with our friend Ahmed, and we were having lunch in an Egyptian restaurant. And I remember at that day, I was very curious to know why would a young girl, 23, if I'm not mistaken, at that time, why would a young girl leave a very well established and very well paid job with the UN, to come, and I think we were to come and work in Dubai, and I think you were applying, or you were applying for a call center agent at that time.
Yes.
Why would a lady, a girl that very well established with her family, work for the UN, well paid, decide to leave all of that and move to Dubai?
I
What was
think
the story?
the short answer is the title of the talk today is, therein being fearless. But before I answer that question, I want to just take you back in the memory lane and just talk about how I got into the UN in the first place. Because for me, working for the UN was my dream. Like it was what I've wanted. It was something that I put in so much effort for. So my last 2 years in university were this is how it went. Like in the morning, I'll do my classes. In the evening, I will go run, do my internship in the UN. Any event that they will have, I would volunteer. I would make sure that everybody within all the UN agencies in Sudan knew me, knew who I was, what I'm capable of. So I kind of programmed myself that I am going to work for the UN, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I want, and this is my dream. And it worked. I put in the effort and it worked. So right before even I get my transcripts and my bachelor degree printed out of my uni, um, I was headhunted by UNICEF, and I got the opportunity to move out of the capital and be in the field. And it was amazing because for me, it was like, oh, you made it. You put your mind to something and you got it, you did it. You're making your dream come true. You're working for the UN. And again, working for the UN, which is a very number one, a noble cause, of course, but also it's a very prestigious NGO. It's a lot of security, and like you said, it's very, very well paid. So I was 22, 23 at the time. I was in the field. I was working day in and day out with vulnerable communities. I would go outside of the city and like visit the communities that we were supporting. And I did some amazing achievements with the UNICEF in Kasala. So it's still, they're very, very dear to me, and I'm very proud of myself. But I've always had that feeling that I can do more. I didn't know why, I didn't know how. Although, like, um, because of the great reputation that I've built within UNICEF, like I would always be called in for like special assignments. Like the chief officer will call me to go in for like special assignments. They would give me like things, and again, because the UN and NGOs in general, everything you do in every job has a framework. So you're kind of put in like a framework. I wouldn't say that there is no room for creativity. There is. You do have the chance to put in your touch, but you kind of feel like it gets monotonous at a certain stage, and with that, it just didn't sit well. I felt like I can do more. There is more to it, and I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm 23. If I don't take risks now, when will I take risks? When I'm 30, or I don't know. So I was like, what's the worst that can happen? If I don't make it in Dubai, I can come back because I've established very strong roots within the UN agencies across Sudan. So here I am. I was applying, and then I got a job. Like you said, as a call center agent in an automotive car dealership, which is very, very a prestigious car dealership. And I packed my bags and I moved. Obviously, people around me and everybody around me was like, "Why are you doing this? Are you out of your mind?" And for me, I knew that it was a stepping stone. It was something that's necessary in order for me to pivot in my career. So it was scary, very, very scary. But at the same time, it was bold, and it was just trying to prove to myself that I can do things outside of my comfort zone.
Nice. So let's stay here for a while, especially the call center thing, because I, during my 10 years that I spent in Dubai, like I met countless number of people who came from Sudan looking for a job, and they took call center agent as an intermediate job, as a stepping stone. Even in Sudan, there's a lot of people who got into call center as this is I'm fresh graduate, I'm just gonna start, it's gonna give me money, and then I'm gonna go out of it. However, it's kind of proven that call center is kind of a trap where people go in and then they really struggle to go out. They are they you get in and then you get into the cycle. It's a long hours job, it's very stressful dealing with the customers, so it's kind of like a trap. And I've seen a lot of people who couldn't go out. And even when we have the conversation, you need to do something on the side, you need to start looking for something else, the first answer I always hear is that there's no time, I'm tired, I'm stressed, all of that. How did you manage to go through the call center period and go out of it?
Okay. So it was tough. I stayed there for about 8, 9 months. And from the second week of me being there, I knew that it wasn't for me. But I wasn't able to move out of, and I was applying left, right, center, reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Uh, you were part of the journey. You helped me rewrite and rewrite my CV multiple times. We prepped for so many interviews, myself and you. But honestly, like the change or the move didn't happen until I made peace with it. I made peace that this is where I am, this is what I do, and I'm learning something out of it. So I think it's very important that you stay motivated, because throughout the 9 months, 8, 9 months that I was there, I was always thinking about what I'm going to do next. I was doing a lot of online courses. I learned coding online. I was very
I
passionate about.
remember our conversation.
Yes, yes. I had a subscription in Coursera that I probably abused. But yeah, I learned coding. I learned data analysis. Um, and already I had the background from my uni time, but it I was always determined that whatever this place can give me, I'm gonna take, and whatever it wants to take from me, I'm not gonna allow it in a way. So I had that mindset that, and not to say that, people that work in call centers are anything of less of great human beings and great professionals. Not at all. There's a lot of wonderful people that I met during that tenure. But if you want to do something more, and if you want to move out of a call center job that you took as a stepping stone or as a way to pivot, you need to put the effort and you need to have the mindset. And accept that if you are there, you have something to learn. So I was very much trying to learn day in and day out. And like I said, you have to make peace with it. You have to accept the circumstances that you are in order for you to be at peace and move on. So um, that's actually what happened to me. Like throughout those 9 months, at first I was like in denial. Oh no, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. I want to do something else. But the moment I went in and I put my best version out there, and I made peace with it, and I was working on my side projects on the side, things happened. Things happened.
Before we move to the things that happened, what did you learn from being a call center agent?
I think the one thing that I learned was listening, because obviously, like, when throughout like the time that I worked in Sudan, and at the beginning of my career, I didn't have much of, like, customer experience or customer service or all that. But the first thing that I learned was listening, just having that ability for you to speak to someone you don't know, you probably will never see, and have them just yell at you, or complain, or you just say something went wrong with their service, or there's a scratch in their car, and you just being like, yes. And those are skills that I've built, and they were like, it was like a melting pot for me, like of skills related to customer service. So I think that's the first thing that I learned was basically listening skills, obviously communication. Dubai is a very diverse market. There's like so many cultures, people from so many different places in the world. So you kind of understood, and you pick up on the cultural difference and what to say and how to say it to who and when and stuff like that. And obviously, because we were a prestigious and a luxury car dealership, so obviously I moved from dealing with with vulnerable communities to the rich people, so it was quite a shift, but it was also a good exercise for me to practice customer service. You know, hold my middle ground, know when to lean forward and lean back if needed. So I think these are the three main things that I've learned. And I wouldn't have learned if I did not basically spend that time doing call center.
So I think during the last 6 years, and we're going to talk about this, we're going to come back to it. During the last 6 years, you kind of moved companies like 3 times or 4 times. But I think the most significant one was you moving from the call center to the first company that you worked after. So take us through that journey. How did you land at that job? And what did it mean to you? And how did you deal with it?
Okay, so the job that I landed, it was my first tech job. It was a data analyst for a company called Meltwater, which was a social media monitoring tool. And um, I actually was it was a referral from Ayan, if you hear us, hello, who then later on became my first sales manager. So it was a referral. I was called in. I go into an area of Dubai that I don't usually go to, and then I just walk in and I look around and I'm like, I want to work here. I want to work here. And I think because I had that radiance of I want to be here, I think that's what grabbed their attention the most because it was also a different type of interview process. You know how tech companies they like to do everything different. So it was a bit of like a different interview process as well. And I landed the job as a data analyst. What it meant for me,
How did you, I just want to stay here. How did you met Ian? How did she refer you?
it was through a mutual friend. So I have a childhood friend that I grew up with. She knows her, and she gave her my CV. Like I've never seen Ayan up until I started working at Meltwater. So she referred me. She looked at my CV, and we had a short phone call. And then she was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." And I think what really helped me was the courses that I did online, because they were like exactly what they were looking for. They were looking for someone who's tech savvy, someone who knows how to handle data, knows how to build reports and stuff like that. So that was the transition. That's how I moved, and that's how I stayed in tech. I got stuck in tech.
Okay, so I want to go back to the fearless conversation because this is where we kind of want to spend more time here. Um, Heba, when we talk about being bold and being daring and all of that, in a professional context, in the workplace, what does being fearless mean?
Yeah. I think being fearless and in a professional setup or at work generally is for you to not put boundaries for yourself. As in, sky is the limit. Keep breaking the glass ceiling. Do not allow people to put labels on you, and don't allow people that are around you with their insecurities and whatever that they're going through to project that on you. So let's say, for example, you want to be part of a management meeting, but because no one from other senior people are ever invited to the meeting, you wouldn't even go and ask. Well, why not? Just maybe those other people are not interested to be there, to be in the room. So it's very important for you to know how to draw. I wouldn't say draw the line, but ask for what you want. Put it on the table, because if you don't ask, you don't get. And again, like growing up and as kids, everything is handed over to us. Like our parents, whatever we need, they give us. They bathe us, they feed us, they give us clothes, they, whatever we need, they give to us. But as professionals and as adults, if you don't ask, you don't get.
But imposter syndrome is real.
Yes. Hello.
How do you do? Hello. It's very, very real. How do we
Yeah.
deal with it? Like, people want to ask, but they are afraid of there's imposter syndrome, there's a fear of rejection, there is um circles. Sometimes there is a certain circles at the workplace. You're not part of these circles. Like, there's so much layers into that. So how do you deal with that?
Honestly, like I can absolutely relate. Like there will be times where, or there is times where I am pretty much the only female in the room, the only black, the only African, the youngest, the smallest, and
Tiny.
the tiniest, yes. And sometimes it can get to you. So I'm not gonna sit here and preach and say like, no, there's no such thing. No, it is hard. It's very tough. And you have to persevere. You have to be resilient and you have to believe in yourself. So if I can like maybe add a component to my answer. So usually what feeds imposter syndrome are fear and doubt.
Okay.
And for me, doubt is always, and this is like something that I've always thought about, it's other people's job to doubt me. And I'm not going to do other people's job.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm just going to focus on me and I'm going to do what I'm meant to do. And doubting myself is not one of them. So you do you, you doubt me, no problem. That's your job, that's your part. I'm not going to doubt myself. I'm going to cheer for myself and I'm going to push myself out of my boundaries. So That's my one advice, basically.
Cool. So let's go back to asking for things that you want. You asking for that promotion, asking to be part of a project, asking to be in the room where you're not actually usually there, like that asking. If there is any prerequisites for this asking, like I can't just come out of the blue and ask, how do I build um what's the word, how can we get to that
Yeah.
asking? Is there is any prerequisites to that?
Yes. Let me answer that question with a story because I'm
Yeah,
a
I love
storyteller.
stories. I'll put you on the stage.
Um, so I'm gonna talk about my first promotion. My first promotion that I got in Meltwater was from a data analyst to an account manager, and that was, I think, four after 4 months for me being in the job. And obviously, like, my manager at the time, Andrea, she told me, Hiba, we're gonna go sit with the managing director for a catch up. It's gonna be like a review. You've been with us for 4 months. We're just gonna review your work. She didn't tell me that I'm getting promoted, obviously. So I went on there and we sat, and then after a little bit of chit chat and obviously some feedback, they told me we are promoting you to be an account manager, and that was my first sales role in the tech industry. And I told them thank you, but honestly, deep in the back of my head, I did not process that at all. Um, it was a shock. I was like, what the hell just happened? And as I went and like I went into it and I started to analyze those 4 months that I've spent, I realized that I asked for this promotion without me saying it clearly that I want to be an account manager. Um, because I was given the task to build reports for clients, but I took full ownership of those reports. I made sure that those reports are squeaky clean. I communicated very effectively with the client, with the account manager. I owned it. And they were like, if this girl can do this with her reports, she can definitely do more with the account. So I kind of asked for the promotion and I got the promotion without me asking for it bluntly. So the prerequisite would be that do do your job as if you are doing the job, not the job that you have, but the job that you want. This is something that was said to me, but it was don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want, which was also um, an advice that I got at Meltwater because Meltwater was, everybody used to dress up so nicely and, you know, they were like always on point. So, this was also an advice that I got. And just the way I carried myself with so much ownership, so much belonging. Um, I was an A player without me knowing. I just, I was just being me.
Nice. I love that story. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of miss when they are in the job. Like I had a lot of conversations with people who are in a jobs that are um they always thought they can do more, and instead of just, they're always thinking like, if I was the senior, if I'm in that role, that person doesn't know how to do their job, I would do their job better. But because they are thinking so big of themselves, and they think that the job is too little for them, they didn't pay enough attention that you could actually make something big out of the job that you currently have, and that will be your selling point to the next job.
Yes.
Let's just stay with the with being fearless. I want you to kind of tell us a story, because you love telling stories, I know that, about a time where you made a decision in your career that was bold, and even though at it was, and it ended up having a very positive um impact in your career. But at the moment when you took it, there was it was a bold decision. It wasn't something that you were scared to do, but you did it anyway.
Yeah. Um, I think there's a couple of couple of moments, but the ones that I can recall right now, obviously moving to Dubai was a pivotal moment. It was scary, it was tough, but it turned out to be the best thing I've ever done because my career just took off from there. My self-esteem, my professional caliber, my business acumen, everything just kept building on from there. So that was a tough decision. It was scary. I was sacrificing a lot of pay, a lot of comfort uh, into tough, competitive Dubai. So, and also like as the days went by, my family started giving me support, and they understood, and like they felt like, yeah, this is the right thing for her to do. I think another thing was starting in tech because it was very scary, and maybe we can touch upon later on some of the challenges that I had as I shifted into this new industry. But it was so scary. It was so challenging because you're walking into a room full of people that are way ahead of you in terms of like their knowledge, and they're super comfortable with themselves. They're super comfortable with the technology, with the company, with all of that. So starting in tech was is a second decision, and also it's something that I don't regret. Tech is a great space. It's tough it's tough for everybody, but especially tough for females, and especially if you're African, Black, it's even harder. But it's so rewarding because no one can take away your success from you. And then the third one, which I'm trying to think about, is yeah, there was one time where I left a job that was paying me more for a job that was paying me less because I wasn't happy. So, and it turned out to be a very good decision because that job that paid me less is the job where I believe that I flexed my professional muscles to the fullest. I expanded. Like sometimes jobs make you shrink to fit the role, or but in that job, I expanded to the fullest. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I made lifetime friends, whether it be from my partners or my colleagues. So yeah, sometimes the most scary things can be the most rewarding. High risk, high reward.
Definitely, always. And
Uh,
I think I can relate to that. I think I had a job, it was regional, it was in one of the biggest companies in the world. I thought I made it. I'm so happy. That's exactly what I wanted. And um I lost that job and I was very down, and then I got a job in a startup, and that was literally the best job I ever had. I like, sorry Google, you Google, and I love Google and everything, but working for that startup was the best time of my life career wise, because as you said, it just gave me the chance to be me and flex my muscle to the maximum. The space that you're given, the trust, the speed, and that adrenaline of just getting things done on a startup way, and
yes,
is unmatched.
yes,
Unmatched. So Hiba, 6 years, four companies, I believe four or five promotions.
yeah,
So that was quite stellar, right? Like, I kind of watched you, and I love the fact that I'm on your dial list when you have a good news. Like, I love listening to good news, and I don't think I will ever stop enjoying listening to your good news. But I also know that that's not an easy thing that you've done. So we have a couple of questions here. For me, the first questions I want to ask is like, how do you do it? What's your secret sauce?
okay. Short answer: trust and work ethics.
Okay, big word. I
Yes.
think for people who are listening to us today, I want you to give them something that they can take away with them. Like
Okay.
if I walked away from this session and I thought I want to get my next promotion, Hiba style, what would I do?
Okay. Get your pen and paper.
Yeah.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I must say, and a couple of therapy sessions after a burnout. Be ready. But the first
Therapy
thing,
is a must. Like I think that's the biggest advice, the best advice I ever had in my life.
yeah. So the first thing is work ethics. I always carry. So I work for a company, but ultimately I work for myself. I don't represent anyone. I represent Hiba. Um, yes, obviously I represent the company and all of that, but what I'm saying that in the back of my head and the way I carry myself is that I'm gonna build the trust, whether it be internally or externally. So be prepared because this is something that you taught me, Razan. Anytime and every time I'm asked to do A, I do A, B, C, D. It's hard. Um, if you do it a lot, you will get burned out. Disclaimer. Don't say
Yeah,
I didn't tell
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. For whoever is listening, be
Disclaimer.
careful, not all the time.
Not all the time. Take often PTO as much as possible. Take care of yourself, but that builds a sense of reliability. So people, when your manager or your colleagues look at you, they look at you as someone who is reliable because she thought of the thing before we even think of it. Um, that's one. The second thing is it builds a strong sense of trust that she knows her thing. She knows what she's doing. She is thorough. She shares update in a very thorough way. So it builds that that trust and that where that the version of yourself that you are representing. The second thing that I always do is ask for feedback because you kind of make your manager or the person who's responsible for your career growth within the company be held accountable. So every time, whenever I have a one-to-one, I always keep 5 minutes or the last portion of the one-to-one asking for feedback. What am I doing good? What do I need to improve? And even if sometimes it wouldn't make sense to me, I would listen. I would listen, I would take note, and I'll make sure that in my next one to one, the one that's following, we'll address the points that he said or she said that I needed to improve. So that number one, everything is laid down on the. So you said I needed to improve X, Y, Z. I did improve. They say, yes, you did improve, and we're very proud of you. So you build like a sense of accountability so that next time round of reviews comes in, you are up for a promotion because nobody wants to look bad that they didn't give you a promotion that you deserve. And honestly, this is on top of obviously like hitting your KPIs and doing the number of calls and hitting your target and all of the shenanigans that comes with the sales role. But this is what made me feel really good about the promotions that I got is that I have professionally grown into this next job title that I'm getting because of my ability to ask for feedback, listen to feedback, and improve based on that feedback. And you have to have, like you, I don't know how to say it in English. صدرك يكون واسع يعني صدرك يكون رحب. How do you say it? Uh,
You have to be like kind of open to feedback,
yes,
like because I think you that's very true. Feedback is not easy. It's not easy for us to, but I think life starts at the end of our comfort zone. And I always have a rule. If someone gave me a feedback, even if I don't agree with it, even I felt there's something personal in it, that there is a truth in everything that people tell us. And I love what Fatima says to me all the time. Your truth is not necessarily my truth, right? So there is something in it, and I need to kind of listen, even if it's uncomfortable. Actually, especially when it's uncomfortable,
yes,
because
and
sometimes that's how people perceive us.
yes, and this is the point that I wanted to say, because you're getting a promotion from others people point of view, not from your point of view. So I could be an A star employee. I think I'm doing everything right. I think I am on top of my game. But ultimately, in the corporate world or in a company setup generally, somebody else is calling the shots. So you need to understand people's point of view. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable with that feedback, regardless of how it is, and move on from there. Build on it. Take whatever that will make you your best professional version and come back from it.
Yeah, and I think a kind of something that I want to say, especially for the Sudanese people who are watching us today, is حبوبة كانت بتقول اسمع كلام اللي ببكيك ما اسمع كلام اللي بضحكك. Like, listen to people who tells you things that would make you cry, not the things that would make you laugh. Because sometimes that is the real deal. That's what makes you uncomfortable, unhappy. That person who take the risk of telling you something that's gonna upset you is actually worth listening to.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Anything else, Hiba, on this?
That's what I
So build your do your ABC, kind of build your brand
cautiously,
and
cautiously.
cautiously. Yeah, with the disclaimer. And the second thing you said is asking for feedback. Is there is anything else that you do?
I think these are the two main things that I do extensively, that you can name as my secret sauce. Um, and the first thing, which I mentioned, which is work. You work for you, so you build your own personal brand. And this is like so evident. Like right now, if you go on my LinkedIn profile, you'll see like a lot of my customers, they put recommendations for me, because like I've always made them feel that I am part of your team. And genuinely, that's how I carry myself. It wasn't like just sales bullshit, or stuff that people would do to get the deal. No, it was genuinely what I did and what I enjoyed. So these are the three things that you can call as my secret sauce.
Tell me a story, because I know you have one. Tell me a story when a customer did something for you that helped you in your job.
Okay. So
I love that story, to be honest. So I would love you to share it.
okay. So in Meltwater, we had something called closing days. So last day of the month, you're not allowed, I wouldn't say you're not allowed to leave, but people would stay in the office until everybody got to target. And I think I was like $100 short of my target, something very, very small, like, and I think it was my second or third month as an account manager. So I was pretty much new to sales, but I was constantly given that feedback that if you don't ask, you don't get. You got to push yourself. You got to be on the phone 24/7. Just push for it. Just do it, stuff like that. So it was such a high pump environment. Like, like everybody was young, everybody was hungry and stuff like that. So funny enough, my manager, Ayan, she told me, just pick up the phone, see who would be open to, buy something for $100 MRR that would help get you to target. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would I do that? How can I do that? And then it came to my mind that I had a client that he already had his renewal proposal, but it wasn't due until next month. So I was like, okay, how about I get him to sign early? That way it's an early renewal, and that's definitely going to get me even above my target. So I'm going to overachieve. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me ask him. So I give the client a call, and this is a client that first I was doing his reports when I was a data analyst, and now I became his account manager. So we kind of go way back. So we go like minimum 6 months ago. So he knows me, I know him. I've helped him a couple of times, worked for in the weekend for him once, building the report and all of that. So I gave him a call. Hello, blah blah blah. Listen, It's the end of the month. I was super blunt. Like, I didn't go left and right. I was straightforward. I said, listen, it's the end of the month. I am short on my target. Would you be open to sign your renewal paper? Do an early renewal with us. And that would be a huge thank you from me to you. He was like, yeah, of course. Well, I'll do that for you, Hiba. Of course, you've helped us in a lot, and your software helps us a lot. And yeah, so I'll pay later. I was like, yes, you'll pay later. And he's like, wonderful. So it was so rewarding because the moment I put the phone down and I looked at my manager and I'm like, it works. She's like, yes, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I moved from someone who wasn't going to achieve that month to someone who overachieved by miles because of that one phone call that I did and that client paying me the favor back of me being an exceptional account manager to him and his organization.
Love that. So I want to stay on the promotion side because you talked about what do you do as a Hebrew, but we also, let's be a realist, right? There's a lot of other factors that comes into that. It's not only you doing the job. There's other things that contribute to your promotion or your advance in your career. Managing your manager is a very important one of this. And being a manager and being an employee, I've been on the two sides of the situation, and I know how does it work. But I really want you to tell the people that are watching us today is how do you actually effectively and successfully manage your managers?
Yeah. I think the most important thing, and I said this before and I'll say it again, is trust. Your manager needs to trust you and you need to trust your manager, and that is built based on a series of things. So you need to be a kind of psychic, like crack the psychology. What is the trigger for your manager? What does your manager fear? What does he seek? What is important for him or her? And based on that, start building small steps to make it apparent that you are trustworthy and that they can rely on you. That's the first thing. The second thing is let the manager be a manager. Like, let it be. Let him or her be. Like, you have to um if like listen to them, like allow them to give you feedback, allow them to tell you do this and do that, even if you know or you did already do that or know that you need to do that. So that's the second thing. You need to let the manager be a manager. Let them be comfortable managing you. Don't be a tough employee for them to manage. And then the third thing would be respect, because a lot of times, and this is something that I'm seeing day in and day out, you would see that people would have the tendency to throw disrespect at each other, or like the manager would disrespect you, the people that he's managing, or her he's or other peers or stuff like that. Make sure that whatever comes out and comes towards you is nothing but respect. Set the boundaries, maintain the respect, because that's very important. Make sure that you have a very respectful relationship with your manager. And yeah, these are the three things that I would recommend.
Nice. I like that. And I think I would add is have a very kind of structured communication with your manager. Make sure that you ask them exactly what are they expecting from you, like asking them, okay, what do you want me to deliver, when do you want me to deliver it, and definitely having understanding what is important to them, what they are fearing, it's pivotal. And make sure that you keep them updated and give them the credit or make them part of your success.
Yes.
Nothing works as much as giving your manager a compliment and making them feel appreciated for whatever they're doing for you.
And look
Let's and
and look good.
and look good. Yes, exactly. Make them look good.
Yes.
Um, uh, let's I want to touch on the fact that you moved from UN to automotive to tech, and even within tech, at the beginning, you were more into a social tech and digital, and then you moved to ERBs and big analytics kind of a thing. A lot of people kind of have that fear of changing career, changing industries. Like, how do you manage that, and what was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome?
Yeah, actually, perfect question because I did want to touch upon this. It's not easy. It's challenging. It's tough. And for me, the biggest challenge was the knowledge gap because I am someone who is number one. Like I don't want to say I like to know it all, but I like to keep myself knowledgeable. um, so it was always like walking into a new industry, especially the first shift that I did into tech was super scary because of the knowledge gap that I thought that I had. But a lot of the people learn on the job. A lot of the people, a lot of things you learn as you go. And um, for me, like the ability or the mindset that I had that I'm always gonna learn more. I'm always gonna, you know, like find a way to teach myself, keep myself knowledgeable, and be teachable, which was very important. Is that I allowed myself to for other people to teach me. And I went and I asked questions and I would annoy my peers. And how do you do this? How do you do that? Can I shadow you? Can I join your meetings? Can I join your calls? And I made it a super high friction, intense first couple of months so that, I turned myself into a sponge and I learned as much as possible to bridge that knowledge gap. Because for me, not knowing something also insinuate a lot of fear. Like it would make me feel uncomfortable. I would be scared. I will, like I'll start even to show physical symptoms of fear. So that's why it's very important for me to, get prepared. um and this is how, like, this was the challenge. I think when I moved in between from companies to companies, slowly started getting better. As in, I got the hang of it. Like there's a lot of resources online. I became more comfortable with asking people. I go into the company, I scan, I know who's the human knowledge base, who's gonna know everything, and you just start to build that bridge with them. So it gets easier, but it all depends on your mindset. You have to allow yourself to be teachable, and you have to allow, like, make peace with the fact that you don't know everything and you have a journey. You have to learn. So, yeah,
Hey, but
that's
we have like 8 minutes, and I'm insisted to squeeze like three questions here.
okay.
We have a question from Hamad Hassan on the chat saying, how do you act as a new joiner in any new company you have joined?
How do I what? Sorry.
When you join a company for the first time, how do you act at first?
Humble. The first and the most important thing is for you to be humble, because that will make it easier for you, and on multiple fronts. The first thing, and try to stay humble throughout the time you're in that company. The second thing is going back to the answer or the question that I just answered previously, is be teachable, ask questions, seek people's advice, because people love to feel important. So if you go to your peers and you ask them, how do you do this? How do you do that? Can I join your calls? Can I shadow you? They would you would slowly grow into them, and they will grow into you in a way. Another thing is, this came from you, Razan. I would recommend reading The First 90 Days. It's an amazing book, and it talks a lot about soft skills and type of behaviors for you to avoid, and things to do and not to do, the do's and don'ts when you're joining a new role. And most of all, have fun and be comfortable. That's very important. Don't feel intimidated. Don't feel scared. It's just a job. What's the worst that can happen? And you are there for a reason. If they picked you out of an interview panel and all of that, you're there for a reason.
So we have another question from Mohammed, also another Mohammed, saying how to promote your expertise and experiences so that recruiters contact you, not the other way around.
Interesting. Um, I would say always try to put your expertise and your projects and things that you do, try to advertise them, try to put them out there on social media or on LinkedIn specifically. I'm someone that in my for my current job, I was approached by the recruiter. I think Razan can also relate to that, and it all goes down to you being vocal, because people scan your LinkedIn profile, they look for keywords, great, but then how do you appear on their feed? How do you make yourself noticeable by building a strong network, following people, commenting on people's work, and also putting your work out there? So yeah, um, be out there, be bold, and there, be daring.
Yeah, like plus 100 to that. Like, I think everyone who knows me are sick of me telling them LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. And I think I always tell people, people deal with LinkedIn as a CV. It's not your CV, it's your professional social network. I personally got all the last three jobs that I had from LinkedIn. None of them I applied, all of them people reached out to me. So you need to put yourself out there, show yourself what you're doing, and not open to work. I I completed this certificate. No, no one cares if you completed the certificate or not. What people care is what did you learn from this certificate? How are you applying it? So don't go and like I completed. I don't care if you completed. There's hundreds of people complete certificates. But what did you learn? How are you applying it? What do you think it's gonna change how people are doing the job? So that's what people are interested to hear. Hey, but I'm insisted to squeeze two questions here. One of
Yes.
them is network and mentorship. How that helped you in your journey.
Yes.
And I know you have a very unique perspective for those two.
Yes, because the conventional way of mentorship and networking make me nervous. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people can agree to that. Having a mentor where you have like a weekly call with, and you prepare a list, and it's just I never did it, and it never worked. But I did it the unconventional way. So for me, mentorship was every time and any time I see a senior person in the company, I would make sure that either I go out for a coffee with them, or I squeeze into their schedule a one to one with me for 15 minutes. And during that one to one is just me asking them about their career, their advice, their perspective, their vision, their feedback. If I've worked with them previously, like we've had a working bond. Sorry. Um, and for myself, that was it is very very interesting, because when I first started doing it, it was unintentional. Like I was not and my intention was not that I will find a mentor out of this person, but slowly, and as I grow on them, I slowly found that I have advocates internally. That whenever my name is brought up in a room, someone senior will nod their head and be like, "Yeah, we spoke with Hiba. She's great. She's amazing. She's based out of Dubai. We see her. We saw her. We did with that." That's the part of the mentoring. For the networking is I always try to reach out to people, and not only when I need something out of them. As in, working for an international company or a global company, it makes it very very, it gives you that opportunity where, like, I would go up sideways throughout the organization and just go on the hierarchy of the company. I'll just click on someone and I'll send them a message back. Hey, I'm Hiba, I'm based out of Dubai, are you available for a quick catch up? And during that catch up, we'll just talk about life, we'll talk about family, we'll talk about challenges, maybe we'll talk about work, maybe not. But I did that very extensively in the first couple of months for me in the company. And right now, I have a lot of friends from all over the world, and a lot of colleagues that I can reach out to, and I have a very strong support system, and um, um, a network of allies, because that's what they are. They're your allies, and this is the strongest type of networking that you can do, because I know for a fact that that's gonna expand and extend, and reach and go to places, basically.
Hiba, this was really enjoying. Like, I really enjoyed this conversation, but I want you to leave me and the people who are listening to us with, there's so much people out there who are afraid to send that CV, afraid to ask for that meeting, afraid to ask for that promotion. They don't, they are stuck in a job that they're not happy. They've been in the job for so long, and they believe they deserve a promotion, but they're not asking for it. There's so much things that we could dare to ask for. And what would you say to those people?
Okay, I would leave you guys with three things, and obviously everything that I said before as well. But the first thing and the most important thing is, what's the worst that can happen? Why not? Why not? Let me click on that button, let me apply. Let me have that conversation with that senior person. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? You're gonna get a no, so what? At least you tried. You don't have to live with that doubt, or with that, thought, the what if, what would have happened if I did, if I did not. I think the second thing is, be teachable. It is very important to stay humble, be a sponge, absorb information, and allow other people to, exercise their right to express their knowledge and all of that, and learn, because everyone, whether it be a senior of you or junior of you, you're going to learn something out of them. You can never stop learning, and you are investing in yourself, and you are investing in your next step by learning. Um, the last thing, which is very important, is bring your best version to whatever you do, day in and day out, because that's how you would get what you want without asking for it. You would make yourself noticeable um, without saying it as bluntly as possible, or putting the words out there specifically. So these are the three things. I think that we are all destined for something great. God has put us in this world to deliver a specific message, and live a journey, and go a path. And again, remember, it's others people's job to doubt you. Don't do other people's job, just focus on you.
Thank you, Hiver. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. We really enjoyed this conversation, and enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you next Friday.
Take care. Bye bye.
Ending.